Okay, good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to this afternoon's press conference with the four-time major champion, Rory McIlroy. Rory, how are preparations going this week, and how much are you looking forward to the challenge ahead?
Yeah, I feel like preparations have been going well. I feel like preparations probably started last week at the Renaissance, and just getting myself familiar again with links conditions, links turf, green speeds. Obviously, we play our majority of our golf in the States, and green surfaces that are quite different to here. So just trying to get, I guess, reacclimated to that. Not that, obviously grew up playing a lot of links golf, but when you only come back to play, once or twice a year, it just takes you a little time to adapt. But yeah, it's been going well. Got my first look at the golf course this morning early. And yeah, it's it's basically a tale of two nines on this course. You feel like you have to make your score on the way out, and then you have to sort of hang on coming in. So, but yeah, looking forward to the week. Course is in great shape, and obviously we've got a amazing field as these major championships produce now. It's the only time, 4 times a year that we get everyone back together. So yeah, looking forward to the week.
Great stuff, Rory. Well, we'll take questions from the floor. If you raise your hand, we'll start with Mark.
Hey, Rory. We had Tiger in a little while ago, and he was mentioning after the dust settled for you after the U.S. Open that he shot you a text. Just kind of wondered what that meant to you to hear that from him. And
So full disclosure, I changed my number 2 days after the U.S. Open, so I didn't get it until he told me about it today. So I was like, oh, thanks very much. So I blanked Tiger Woods, which was probably not a great thing, but Tiger's been nothing but incredible to me over the course of my career. In the good moments and in the bad. He sent me an incredible message after St Andrews in 2022. And he's, I met Tiger when I was 15 years old, and I've built up a great relationship with him, his whole family. He really enjoys spending time with my mum and dad as well. So yeah, it means a lot. It means a lot that he reached out, and it actually, it means a lot that he waited a few days to reach out. Wish he hadn't waited that long, as I probably would have got it. But I caught up with him earlier, and it's always nice when your hero and the guy that you had on your bedroom wall is reaching out and offering words of encouragement.
If I could just, on a quick follow, obviously you had last week under your belt to play, but where is your headspace at, a month or so removed from Pinehurst, where you sit now? Yeah,
it's good. Game's in really good shape. Had a nice reset after Pinehurst that was needed, and felt like I, shook off a little bit of the rust last week and played okay. Felt like I probably could have given myself more of a chance to win the tournament, but thought it was a solid week, and again, it's like one eye on preparing for this week, but another eye on trying to, get into contention as well. But overall, I've been in the UK now for a couple of weeks, and it's felt nice to get back over here and get back into the swing of things.
Okay, Dan.
Do you have to change your phone number a lot? Is that something you do a lot?
I actually haven't done it in a while, so I thought it was time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was a totally separate thought. Tiger also was saying that, that you said you felt uncomfortable on 16 and 18. He said you feel that basically every time you're trying to win a tournament. Were you surprised at that feeling? And how will you deal with it, I guess, differently moving forward than you did a couple weeks ago?
Yeah, no, not surprised. I think, last few holes of a major championship with a great chance to win, if you're not feeling it, then it probably doesn't mean as much to you as it should. So no, it wasn't a surprise. It was just more a disappointment that I didn't handle those uneasy feelings as good as I could have. And I've alluded to this. I was probably more aware than I should have been of what was happening behind me, and sort of got out of my own little headspace a little too much, and that was a big part of the reason why I didn't close it out coming down the stretch.
Okay, next question, microphone number 3.
Hi, Rory. Just a quick one. May I ask why you change your number from time to time? Are we safe to assume you weren't cut off for not paying your bill?
No, I can pay the bills. There's a lot of money floating around in golf at the minute. I honestly, from the time I left Pinehurst to the time I walked through my front door on Sunday night, I probably got about 10 or 15 text messages from media members. And I was like, it's probably time to get a new number.
Okay. So
create a bit of space.
That's fair enough. Do you ever get, as well, overwhelmed by when you have lots of goodwill messages, but sometimes it gets a bit too much if you're feeling particularly down after a tournament? Everybody's expressing their sympathy. Sometimes it can get can almost make you feel a bit worse.
No, I mean, I'd much rather people reach out, in fairness, and I think that's it's a lovely thing and hopefully a nice reflection on how people feel about me or what they think about me. So, I'll never shun messages of support or encouragement. It's a lovely thing.
Okay, Jeff.
Rory, you mentioned a couple things in your introductory comments. Slow greens. Is there anything you do mechanically that you change or with your club? And then also, the forecast is for the wind actually to possibly be the complete opposite the first couple of days from the south. Do you have memories of how this golf course, have you played it that way, or have you thought about that yet, about Royal Troon?
Yeah, so definitely was cognizant of that today in the practice round. It was very, very calm starting off, but I would say once we reached probably like the seventh hole, it started to blow like northwest, like straight down on the front side, and then it was really straight back in coming in, maybe a little tiny bit off the left, if anything, and the forecast looks like it's going to be basically straight off the right going out and straight off the left coming in. So quite a few more crosswinds, which presents its own challenges in a way. So yeah, I think we're all, you would like to play the golf course in the conditions that you're gonna play in the tournament, but sometimes that's Mother Nature just doesn't let that happen. But it won't be too dissimilar to what it was in 2016. It was sort of down off the right, usually on the way out, and then in off the left coming in. So maybe just a little more, a few more crosswinds than there usually is. And then the slower greens, I don't like to tinker too much with the putter. I had, Fax was out there walking with me this morning, and so was Luke Donald. And I asked Luke, I really try to focus on the strike more than anything else here, and just put a good roll on it. And because any putt here that's misstruck just doesn't get to the hole. So I picked Luke's brain a bit, and he always said he liked to focus on the tempo of a stroke and really, if anything, make it a little shorter and a little brisker on greens like this. So that's something that, the strike, and maybe just think a little bit more about the tempo of the stroke, two good things this week.
Okay then, Tom.
Rory, if and hopefully when you win another major, how much of a relief will it be to you to stop the endless kind of psychoanalysis of what's going on inside your brain and people asking you questions like this one, when you're going to win another major?
It doesn't bother me. I know that I'm in a good spot, and if I think about 2015 through 2020, that 5-year stretch, I seldom had a realistic chance to win a major championship in that 5-year period. So I'd much rather have these close calls. It means that I'm getting closer. But yeah, absolutely, I'd love to be able to play the golf and get one over the line. But as soon as I do that, people are going to say, well, when are you going to win your 6th? So it's never ending.
Okay, Brian.
Hi, Rory. Bob, last week, quite phenomenal end to the week. You told us 12 months ago he was going to have many opportunities. What did you make of the way that ended up on Sunday? And secondly, you spoke last week about not being able to take a holiday. You can't remember the last time you took a holiday. How much do you crave for the day when you can get up with the family, you go down to the coffee shop, have breakfast, without being Rory McIlroy, the global superstar?
Yeah, so on Bob, yeah, I mean, absolutely phenomenal what he did last week, especially after the, what happened last year and coming so close. Love to know who put a sprinkler head there on 16, but it worked out in his favor. But I mean, Bob is so proud to be Scottish, and he's so, he wanted to win that National Open more than anything else, and to have that chance, even last year, and to produce the golf, and then to hold that putt at the last, and I mean, it was a perfect ending to the tournament, and yeah, really happy for Bob. He's really, I think after the Ryder Cup, he's really come into his own, and obviously the Canadian Open was a huge win for him, and then winning the Scottish Open is obviously even bigger. So really happy for him, and puts him in a good spot heading into this week. And then it's not as if I regularly go out with my family and have coffee and have breakfast, and yeah, I get stopped sometimes and whatever, but I'd much rather have it that way, because if I wasn't getting stopped and wasn't on TV all the time, I wouldn't be very good at my job. So it's nice to get recognized, and nice to again, going back to having people wish you well. But yeah, there's times where you crave a little bit of anonymity and want to get out of the public eye. But I understand that in the position that I'm in, if I'm going to reap the rewards of the position I'm in, then there's other things you have to deal with as well, and I completely understand that.
Okay, Bob.
Roy, you mentioned earlier that you grew up playing links golf. Was it harder to adjust to the style that's played more around the world, or is it harder to go back the other way?
For me personally, it's probably a little harder to go back the other way, because my natural game is to hit it in the air and to play more of a game that's suited to big American sort of parkland golf courses. But I've gotten much better over the years at adapting and hitting the shots that are required on links courses and in blustery conditions. And I've sort of prided myself on that. My record in the Open Championship over the last few years has been very, very good. But yeah, it still takes a little while when you play 11 months of your golf every year in very different conditions. That's why I thought it was so important for me to get back and play the Scottish Open last week, just to refamiliarize myself with the turf, the types of shots needed around the greens, even the wind. I feel like in warmer conditions in America, like a wind that's a similar strength doesn't affect the ball as much as it just feels like a real heavy wind here, especially when you play a seaside link. So just getting refamiliarized with all that, I think is important.
How old do you think you were when you had that revelation that style of golf in North America was going to be really good for you?
Probably early on. I always liked trying to hit it far and hit it high, and I didn't necessarily grow up on a links course. Hollywood is a parkland sort of golf course, so I had to learn how to hit it high, but I think once I was a teenager and I started to travel around Europe and to South Africa and Australia and some of these other amateur events, I soon realized that hitting it long and hitting it high was a big advantage in the game.
Okay, Joy, in front.
Hey, Rory. They said there are 5 stages of grief, and going back to finals, when did you think you added another one, the 6th stage, which is changing your phone number? But when did you think
wasn't out of grief, but okay.
When did you think that you finally came to the acceptance stage, and how was that process for you?
I would say maybe like 3 or 4 days after. Went from being very disappointed and dejected to trying to focus on the positives, to then wanting to learn from the negatives, and then getting to the point where you become enthusiastic and motivated to go again. So probably took, 3, 4, 5 days. But it's funny how your mindset can go from, I don't want to see a golf course for a month to 4 days later being like, can't wait to get another shot at it. So when that disappointment turns to motivation, that's when it's time to go again. But yeah, 3 or 4 days.
So we'll take the final 3 questions in the room, starting with microphone number 4.
Hi, Rory. You mentioned earlier that you met Tiger for the first time when you were 15. Do you ever sort of like sit at home and think like that, how surreal it is that 15-year-old lad has now become like fairly close mates with Tiger Woods, and you're now like Brian said earlier, like a global superstar?
Yeah. I get reminded of it, or I remind myself of it every day. Like I always say this, and it sounds cliche, but I don't take it for granted that I can wake up every day and try to live out my childhood dream. And one of my childhood dreams was to meet Tiger Woods, but not only that, but to compete against him and to befriend him and become close to him. Not in my wildest dreams that I think that I'd end up in the position that I'm in, but very grateful for it. And I still have to remind myself a lot that this is my life.
Okay, next question in the front.
Hi, Rory.
Hey, Kev.
I said at the Scottish that you went to Manhattan for a few days, and you were talking about just walking the High Line a little bit, your earpods in. What's a day of meditative thinking like, and what does it do for you?
It's liberating in some way. And I think as well, just to get out to not be on a screen, to look around, I think trying to find the joy in the small things of life, I think is really important. And I think going there especially is a good reset, just in terms of seeing everyone living their lives and the hustle and the bustle, and honestly, no one give a shit if I missed the putt at Pinehurst. It's a nice perspective to keep. But just to go and get lost in a big city like that, and just be one of the herd, sort of going about your day. It's for me anyway, it's a nice feeling.
Okay, the final question at the back left.
Rory, you've hit this shot off the tee a few times this season, this like ultra low drive, apex is at 30 feet, 35 feet. I'm just wondering if that's a skill you've always had, if you've had to develop it over the years, how often you practice it. I mean, where does that shot come from?
Yeah, it's definitely something that I've developed more over the years. And honestly, it's only a shot I've been able to hit since I've become a little stronger. It's about trying to keep my right side high on the way into the golf ball. So, if I've talked about my sort of low tee and my high tee. I tee it down low, which helps me keep on top of it and keep that right side high. If I tee it up a little higher, I can get it some right side bend going. And when you time it well, it can be awesome. But when you don't time it so well, it can create some issues. So it's a really nice go-to shot for me if I don't feel 100% comfortable on a tee shot, or if a tee shot doesn't fit my eye. To be able to tee it low and hit that shot, like 12 at Pinehurst was an example. It's a wide fairway, but I got up there and I just didn't see anything. So to just get the ball on the deck and get it running, especially on fairways like that, conditions like this, it's something that it's a shot that I've went to more and more over the last couple of years since I've been able to, practice it and develop it. And it's been a nice go-to when I'm struggling to see a certain shot. Just tee it low and sort of squeeze one out there, and it still gets out there quite a long way, which is nice.
Okay, we'll bring things to a close there. Rory, thanks for your time and very best of luck this week.
Thank you.